Hello and welcome to Age Friendly Chelmsford. This is Debbie Siriani. I'm the director of the Chelmsford Senior Center and co-chair of the Age Friendly Committee in town. I have with me my co-host, Lisa Marrone, who's the Business Development Director and also on our Age Friendly Committee.
Hello, Debbie.
Hello.
Again, here we are.
Nice to see you again, Lisa.
Thank you. Same.
And with us, we have Sara Carpineto from Complete Game Physical Therapy, and we're here to talk about balance and a little bit about your business.
So, Sara, I remember when the town hosted a ribbon cutting for Complete Game that they moved into North Chelmsford. If you could just chat a little bit generally about what Complete Game Physical Therapy is all about.
Sure. So, Complete Game Physical Therapy is owned by Greg Crossman, and I've known him for a few years now, even before I was hired there. But I came to him with a background in athletic training and but a heavy interest in education, and I also enjoy the business side of things, like marketing and networking and things like that. And so, but Complete Game Physical Therapy, we treat people of all ages. I think our youngest patient right now is almost three. Wow. She's almost three, and then our oldest is up in their 80s and 90s, I think low 90s. And so we treat patients of all ages, but we do have a focus on athletics and sports, but we see anybody, really.
I remember that your location had a lot of equipment to adapt to people's needs and their treatment, and there were some athletes there, some semi-pro athletes.
Yeah.
It was really impressive. And can you chat a little bit about, in general, how athletes find their way to you, or how you get referrals to your business? Yeah,
so Greg has always had a heavy involvement in the baseball community, and so a lot, and even the name of the physical therapy practice, it kind of stems from baseball, and so that's where his passion lies. But then also athletes in general, and so all of our physical therapists have been athletes in the past. In many different types of sports: volleyball, wrestling, football, baseball, me softball. We've kind of taken some from everywhere. And so we talk to local schools and their athletic trainers because those are the people that are seeing the students and the athletes all the time. And then we also talk to local physicians and let them know that we're here. And because these athletes continue to get injured, they have to get surgeries, especially at these young ages now, where athletes they're specializing in sports really young, so they're playing all year round without any breaks, and so injury rates have come up.
Or multiple teams sometimes, or multiple sports sometimes.
Yes.
But I also liked that your company, as you had said, it's not just sports related. If someone had a knee replacement, or somebody took a bad fall, or anything like that, you have all types of equipment, even just either if it's just a backache or something more serious or more involved.
Yeah.
It seemed like your location can really accommodate a lot.
Yeah, and actually I met one of the seniors that goes to the Chelmsford Senior Center there, and there were a couple of other seniors who they went to the doctor not for any particular issue, but for multiple things that they felt like they were struggling with, and even getting up in and out of a chair, or just walking to their car, putting away groceries, or trying to lift something up at home, and realizing that they're having trouble with these quote unquote simple tasks, and so they don't want to struggle with them, and they don't want to have pain with them. And so great, their doctor referred them for physical therapy, and they found us, and so we work on not just the injury itself and treating the pain and the symptoms that are coming with it, but also how can we correct your movements so that you are safe to be lifting things, safe to walk, and maybe you feel a little bit more stable throughout your day with all these activities.
And not a fall risk.
Right.
So how we connected, Sarah, is through last fall, you started a series at the Senior Center with us, and it was so popular that we had to shut it down. Well, we didn't shut it down, but we had a waiting list, and it was about 60 people on the waiting list. So we could only accommodate about 30 people. And then it was so popular, we decided to extend it, have another one, which just started last week. And we had 72 people at the last one. We had to keep moving which room we were going to be in. And it really hit a nerve.
Yeah.
And, well, literally, right?
Yeah,
I mean, it is
literally.
about the nerves,
8,000,
right?
maybe.
That was kind of clever. I didn't even plan that. Hey, no. So, and we still had a waiting list. 72 people showed up, and we still had a waiting list. So, tell me a little bit about that and why
Yeah.
you think it hit such a nerve with people.
Honestly, right now, and without getting too much into it, there are buzzwords in the world right now where it's like, if you say one thing and that resonates with somebody, it could be a super general word too, but like balance. There are so many things that go into balance, and so things that we know that seniors need, right? They need foot control, hip control, core control. They need to strengthen. They need strong bones, but that doesn't sound fun. They just know. They just know that they want to balance. They want to get through their day without feeling like they're going to fall over, or be able to do a simple task without feeling like they're going to be in pain. So when you put something out there like balance class, yes, it's general, but it's going to catch your ear, and it's going to encompass all of those things. But that's why when we talk about later what kind of goes into balance, this is my opportunity to then be like, okay, yes, balance is why you're here, but how do we do this, and why do we do this?
Well, you had a really good slide. We have some really interesting information here. 1 out of 5 falls result in injury. I know people are so afraid to fall when they get older. I mean, I'm afraid of falling for sure, but people decide, like at this time of year even, sometimes they don't want to go out because they're really worried about falling on the ice, or they're concerned about doing an exercise class because they don't want to fall.
Right.
So let's talk a little bit about that and how your classes help.
Yeah, so with the injuries in this specific note here, 1 out of 5 falls result in injury. Those are mostly head injuries or fractures. And so too, as we age, our bones are a little less dense, and so we're more prone to fractures. So the more things that we can do in a weight-bearing setting, meaning on your feet or even on your knees and hands, like things that you can do on the ground, those are considered weight-bearing, and they help bones grow. And as we age, that density starts to decrease, and so if we're not moving around as much, or maybe we're sitting more often, or maybe we got hurt and we're laid up for a little bit, that can decrease the density in our bones and at a faster rate as well. So the balance exercises are a way for us to connect ourselves to the ground and do exercises in a weight-bearing setting where now our bones can produce the cells needed to produce more bone. And
do you really need to have a lot of weight for it to make a difference, or can you have like a 5-pound weight if you're 92 or something? And
that's a great question.
Although I've seen a lot of 92-year-olds lift much heavier than I'm able to do, but nothing.
No, that's a great question, and it actually, your body weight is just fine. And so even the ability to get out and walk sometimes is enough. If you're looking to make gains beyond that normal everyday activity, then yeah, we might have to add some light weights to it, and I'm talking less than 5 pounds. but that would be helpful in gaining bone density. But same thing. But when it comes to just even body weight, if we're doing single leg balancing or going out for a walk or even some body weight exercises like what I take these guys through, it's even that is very helpful from a weight bearing standpoint.
Is that what you mean when you say falls are preventable? That if you're strengthening those muscles, that's really the key.
Yes, and so you can't prevent everything. Some accidents happen, freak accidents happen, and there's nothing you can really do about it. But can you reduce your risk? Mm-hmm. That's really what we're looking to do, right? And so we want to make sure that for the activities that you are looking to do, no matter how extreme or not, you have control over your body, and you can feel confident in that, that you're strong enough and you're stable enough to perform that activity. Yeah.
And I think confidence is a big deal in that way, because that's, I think, why a lot of seniors don't do exercises, is they're concerned that they may fall or they may strain themselves. We do have lots of exercises at the senior center that are different range of strength abilities. That starts, we have chair exercise, we have sit and get fit, we have seated yoga, but we also have Zumba, we've got line dancing, we've got weight training, and a fitness room with all kinds of weights. We've got treadmills and seated recumbent bicycles to help people gain that strength without the risk involved. So, and just so you know, a little bit of a commercial. So Lowell 5 gave us a donation, and January, February, and March this year, all exercise classes, except for the fitness room, which is not a class, but all exercise classes and the art class are free for 3 months.
That is so
So if
awesome.
anybody wants to just come and try a class,
Yeah.
most of them are drop-in, you don't even have to sign up, but give the senior center a call and ask us about it, and we can let you know what the skill level is. You can come and watch one and see if you think that it might be a good fit for you.
That's awesome.
But I thought that was
Fantastic.
a wonderful
Great
gift to
partnership.
people. Yeah, so
Absolutely.
thank you, Lowell 5.
Wonderful.
That might have helped with the numbers.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Right, exactly, right? So on this slide, it says 30 minutes of daily exercise
Yeah.
helps improve balance.
Yeah, and this is, I told them too last week when I talked about this, 30 minutes of daily exercise is a guideline. If you can't do that every day, but you can maybe get in 10 minutes, something really is better than nothing. Because I know even with me now, I'm like, I didn't get my workout in today. I start feeling down about it. The next day I'm like, I don't really feel like it today either. And so it just kind of spirals, and it happens to everybody. And so
And then you got Ben and Jerry's, by the way.
Yes.
And if they want to sponsor, that's okay. They can come and give us free ice cream.
But it doesn't have to be continual 30 minutes. It could be 15 in the morning and 15 minutes in the evening.
Yeah,
You get the same benefit.
Yeah, and it could be, exercise has many different forms too. It could be stretching, it could be just kind of warm-up exercises, or just something to kind of get your heart rate up a little bit, to get some blood flowing through your muscles, but also get you prepared for the day ahead of you, right? Or maybe cool down from the day you had. Maybe it was a busy day, and your body needs a way to kind of come back down to normal. But it doesn't have to be 30 minutes straight. It could be, like I said, going for a walk is a great way to do it, because then you're also practicing your balancing, especially if it's outside, because you have that kind of questionable terrain depending on where you're at. But it could be chair yoga. You could do some stretching on the floor. You can do even just upper body stretching, or body weight exercises.
And the telemedia actually have videos that they show on this channel, or one of the channels, for exercise, at home exercise to follow along, or somebody can help you out if you're not tech savvy, or if you are, you can get up on YouTube and use, that platform as a free offering to guide you. But when you're at the senior center, the nice part is you also get to meet people, you get to talk with people, you get to joke around, and it passes the time a little bit.
Make some
I like walking with a
friendships
friend, or I just get bored. If I'm talking, then I could walk for a long time.
And also the moderation, like you don't have to be sweating, like dripping sweat the whole time. You can, it could be a light exercise where you just maybe even barely break a sweat. Like a workout doesn't need to be this grueling task.
Intense and
where you have to shower afterwards. Like it could be light enough to where you could probably get away with no shower after. Like that's okay.
Where it'll probably start feeling good.
Yes.
Better.
Yes.
So you have another good slide. What muscular regions contribute to balance?
Yeah.
So can you walk us through this here?
Sure, and these are just the major muscle groups that I'm going to hit in the class. There are many other things that contribute to balance for sure, but I wanted to make sure throughout this, because this course is like 8 weeks long, and so, okay, what do I want to talk about at each class? And so the first one we talked about feet. What is the role of the feet in balance, and maybe doing some exercises that support that. And then we have our hips, and that's your whole hips, right? Like, so your thighs, the front of your thighs, back of your thighs, your butt, your hip flexors, everything that's attached to your pelvis is part of your hips, right? And then you have your core, not any particular muscle, just all of the abdominal muscles that we use to improve our balance. And then posture. Posture is a big one that often gets missed, and no, it's not touching the ground, but it has a lot to do with how we carry our weight and our center of gravity, and being able to control our balance and have body awareness actually results in better posture, and vice versa. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, we actually do have a little bit of a video that that CTM went out to the senior center to just give a little bit of a visual of what your workshop looked like. So let's just take a look at that.
And we're strengthening those muscles. The shaking is kind of telling us, okay, we have some weakness there, right? Let's do one more. There we go. Awesome. If you need to shake it out here and there, that's fine too. So one more, just breathe in, out. Breathe into center, and breathe into center, and out to the other side.
Okay, super. Oh, excellent. Well, we love having you out there. I mean, it's just wonderful to see everybody, coming out, and especially when it's such, so cold and like dark, and you just want to be able to come out, and like 72 people, like we had a lot in the first class, like hopefully it continues with those numbers. But I talked to, a couple of tables worth of people after your class, and they said A+, A+.
They're too
So we really appreciate you coming out. So this is, I can't wait to get to the next slide, because, it talks about feet. So I want to talk about shoes, because girls got to talk about shoes. Any excuse to buy new shoes really is a good thing, right?
I agree. I agree
So,
completely.
What does all of this have to do with shoes? Do you give any advice about shoes?
Yes, so it's interesting because it could be kind of really debated of, all these shoes out there right now, especially for our older population, are just, the message is that this will give you stability, this will give you comfort and
Build
protect
muscle
you,
and, yeah.
right? And so, yes, shoes do protect our feet, but mostly from getting cuts on the ground when we're walking and things like that. But if we over pad the shoe, or if it's just an overly built shoe, what our body starts to do is rely on the shoe for stability. and there's nothing holding the shoe up. So if the shoe gets really old, the less stable it is, right? And so, just like us, I guess. But with our feet, like it says here on this slide here, there are an estimated 8,000 nerves in your feet, and if sensory is taken away from the foot, and we're taking away our reliance on our feet to hold themselves up and stabilize themselves, well, then they're just going to sit back and relax, right? They're just going to be like, oh, you don't need me. We'll rely on this big, comfy shoe. And so when it comes to shoes... Are you
encouraging people to basically walk around without shoes sometimes at home, or is that some...
I don't want to encourage anybody to do anything that feels uncomfortable to them, especially if they've been directed by a doctor to do something different. But that being said, if you're home and you know you're in a safe environment where you can maybe practice that, where you can take off your shoes, feel the floor, feel the rug underneath your feet, and kind of move your toes around, spread your toes around. I want you to be able to feel your feet. And so something we talked about last week was being able to access all corners of your feet and how to control your toes, because we stand on 2 feet. That's it. These tiny things that are holding up our body all day, right? The smaller our base, the smaller our foundation, the less stable we're going to be, right? And if we are off balance up top and our feet can't handle that, well, then we're more likely to fall. And so if we can really feel through our feet, be able to control our toes and the arches of our feet, that's actually going to help us in our balancing journey. Yeah.
So, and even sitting down and doing exercises with your feet, you know,
absolutely,
engaging different parts of your feet. I saw you doing with them.
Yes,
is a good thing for folks to do.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And I know that a lot of older folks also have neuropathy issues, or they have, you know, diabetes and issues with their feet, and so, you know, of course we would suggest you talk to a doctor, talk to a podiatrist about those kinds of things, and whether they need you to buy some new shoes or not.
Yeah.
Just in case.
Yeah. Yeah. And even if it's a temporary solution, maybe you do need a little bit of support while you're doing these exercises and gaining strength and gaining your balance, but maybe they can come out one day. Maybe this, whatever insoles or types of shoes you have, maybe we can, you know, progress. You know, and it's not a sprint, it's a marathon.
And it's a different, whether you're gardening or you're going to the playground or you're going for a walk, you know,
right.
You have to be mindful of the different motions and activities you're doing to decide what you're going to put on your feet.
Right.
For that day. So of course, shoe shopping.
I see people walk in with flip-flops and of all ages, and it just drives me. I go like, oh no, I hope that's not paperwork coming up, you know, with an incident report.
Yeah.
But I mean, you'd be surprised how many people wear flip-flops. And
Guilty.
I don't know. Yeah. So, you know, what have you found? What are the things that you found when you went into the senior center, and what may have surprised you, maybe from some of the people that? Has anything surprised you, or you've seen it all before?
No, I actually, there's been a few things. They are so eager, and I mean, I've worked with athletes of all ages and active individuals of all ages, but more recently in my career, I've worked with the more youth and adolescent population, and so anything you give them to do is a job, and they don't really want to, you know, they're there, and they do want to get done, but they're not going to ask you for the extra homework, right? And so I'm used to kind of being like, okay, get to the point. and then kind of send your message and go home. But no, they come up to me afterwards and they're like, wait, what am I supposed to be doing at home? How am I going to remember all this? And I'm just like, oh, this isn't like you come to the class and then that's it, you're done for the day, see you next class. They want more. They want to learn these things. And be able to practice them on their own and show progression from week to week. And so that was one thing that I feel like it shouldn't have surprised me, but it did. It did.
That they understand the importance.
Yes.
And the importance of that. It can really be very significant in their quality of life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there are other factors too in falling and balance. So we do have, AARP has like a home fit guide, and we have printed copies of that. It's also available on AARP website, but it's tips on how to make your home more safer. So that you're not like throw rugs and just little tips about how to set your place up so that there are less risks. And so we have those available to you as well. And if you can't find it, just email us or call us at the Senior Center, and we can send you the link of anything like that. But we do have copies of little home fit guides for people to look through, and their loved ones maybe trying to set up to make sure that somebody's able to stay at home longer and more independently, but they're fearful about the fall risk. Then those are some of the tools that we also have. But it's been so amazing to have you.
Thank
so
you. It's a
tell
pleasure.
me, just like, how did you get into this?
So into the Senior Center?
No, into the whole
Physical therapy
physical
world.
therapy.
Yeah, so, traditional athletic trainers are typically out on the field, but I realized into a couple years into my career, I was like, nights and weekends, they're not really working out for me right now. So I went clinical and found that the athletic training in the clinical setting is very much needed. I think athletic trainers can help bridge the gap between your doctor's office and your physical therapy. And your physical therapy and returning to play, right? And so a lot of times, our physicians send us to physical therapists to recover, but then when we're done with physical therapy, we can function normally as a human, but how do I get back to that level of activity I was at before? How do I get back to this competitive activity? And so that's kind of where my passion lies, but also with preventing injuries. And so this was a perfect opportunity too for me to kind of go on my rants every week to everybody about preventing injuries and what we can be doing to keep ourselves healthy. So that's kind of the track that brought me here.
Can you just share a little bit about your location? You're on Princeton Road.
Yeah, we're 73 Princeton Street. We're unit number 8 in the Mill Building. So if you've ever, free commercial for the establishment, but if you've ever been to the establishment restaurant, we're in the same building, just on the other end. We have a great space there. It is truly different than any other physical therapy place that you've been to. There's no private rooms. It's kind of like a big communal space. And it is so great to see people come in and they see their friends. And they're just like, oh, I didn't know you came here. And it's just so lovely to see that, and just that community kind of blossom out of there.
And we're happy you're in Chelmsford.
Yes.
We're happy
Part
that
of
you're
our
here.
community.
Yes, it's fun.
Right.
Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me. I
Thanks,
appreciate
Sarah.
it. It's
Thanks,
wonderful.
everybody. Have a great day.